Saunders.
Hey.
Saunders.
Bow.
Burberry.
Bow, 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 bow.
Burberry. Burberry.
Bow, 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 bow. Draco. Everybody, how you doing?
What's going on, y'all?
We are here not just with any regular podcast today.
This is a special podcast. Aziz.
Aziz isn't here anymore.
Good.
Tell me about your mother.
Oh, man. Oh.
We are here not with just any podcast, but a special get out. Don't get out. Just stay in your seat. But
Get the fuck out of here.
a special get out edition. The movie that was so great, we had to give it its own podcast.
Yeah, man. What a movie. Wow.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, now it's like 98. One.
Who's the hater? Was it Donald Trump? Did he do it?
No, but
It was. What's the pseudonym he was under?
he was black. That's
Ben Carson.
right. He might have been maybe Ben Carson's cousin or something. I don't know.
Something, Johnny.
But I can believe it. Black guy, black critic. And I think he gave it like I don't forget what he gave it, but he ruined their perfect score. Like ruined it.
He's probably looking for some fame, you know. He probably forgot to turn in some files the week before, so he's like, I gotta do something to put us on the map.
Right. It's just
Give it a
disappointing.
97.
But yeah, at one point it had a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's worth seeing twice, man, 3 times, 4 times. It's a good movie.
A
Very
great
good
movie.
Yeah. Yes.
A great,
Very.
not a movie, a film, a cinematic experience. If
We
you,
low key might be biased because we're of the darker demographic.
There's no such thing. Black people can't be racist. You know that.
You're right. We can't be
No.
because of slavery.
Yes,
Because of slavery.
exactly.
So all right.
Let's get it kicked off. What are some things that you liked about the movie? Everything.
Right. I want to say that, but there is one thing I didn't like. But
There's a few.
there's a few, right? Some things I liked about it, man. Very big, very symbolic. The subliminals, even though you don't think they are, but I like the symbolic references and a lot of stuff that you watching it or you may not see it the first time around, which gives it playback ability, so you can watch this movie more than once and be like, oh, I missed this or oh, I missed that. I like that about the movie. And of course I like how it kind of my bias. I like how it just kind of touched on some of the issues that black people deal with in society.
Issues.
Yeah.
It was so, and like you said, maybe because we're POC, people of color. It felt real, like it felt incredibly relatable.
You were really drawn in from the get-go. You're just like, oh, and you don't even have to be in an interracial relationship, but you just like, oh, black guy dating, someone outside of his race.
Right.
You just, like, as a black man, I just felt that.
I hear you. Like, there were, like you said, it's not just, people of color, but I think one of the things for me and what made it relatable, it's like it had its comedic parts, but it was still truthful. Like a lot of and we'll get into it later, some of the scenes, like they're meant to be comedic in a sense, but as an African American male, it was like, no, like
it's
you
funny.
Guys in the theater
It's funny
laughing.
because it's real, right?
It's true,
right?
Like it's hilarious. You've seen how some of these people are acting, but at the same time, in your life, in my life, we've actually dealt with people that act like this. It's not just a movie. Like
Right.
this is pulling from like, which I'm sure Jordan Peele used when he wrote some of the scenes. Like these are real things that we as African American people, deal with in situations, and it's like how do you respond to that from our end? Which I like how the character did in the movie. He didn't go into angry black man mode. He just kind of tried to be himself, who he was.
Just tried to just be a normal guy, but throughout the movie he just kept getting tested, and that too was very relatable. You just like, dang, like when's he gonna break or something? But yeah, man, this movie was it was very it was put together very well, and it's a lot of things to like about it.
Yeah.
What about some dislikes do you have any dislikes?
Well, before we get into that, one of the things I really did like about the movie was and you get it more so when you watch it a second time, but the first time around, if you're, really into movies and you like, the storyline and whatnot, there was a lot of great foreshadowing, scenes, real subtle symbolism here and there that you might, not have picked up on, but then later on in the movie you're like, oh, I remember this from this scene, or remember from that. So
like
that was
the
one
deer
of the
scene.
things.
The deer when they hit the deer. Yeah, that one I like how that was a foreshadow of some other stuff that we'll talk about later. But yeah.
So that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the movie.
Yeah.
Things I didn't like, and it's not even particularly the movie. I wish they would have shown less in the trailer.
Yeah.
I feel like that would, because going into it, like you knew for the most part, like
it would have really then the twists and everything would have really been like, oh, whoa, like what the hell. But yeah, for the most part you knew what like the plot of the movie from watching the trailer. Like, okay, not much changed after that. I agree with you on that. I can agree on that.
Other than that, like there wasn't too much I didn't like.
Yeah,
I feel like
to not like
you said, maybe there could have been a little more character development or backstory in regards to the daughter. Maybe even the parents as well. You could have dove into the parents or the relationship with the grandparents.
Like what really made them do this? Like what really like propelled them to be like, you know what? We want to start the first order of the coagula, whatever. But that would have been good. That was one thing I was going to say, was that I wish they would have developed more on the villains, I guess, or the antagonists, yeah, because that would have made it. They tried to make it personal a little bit, but they could have did a little more, and it would have, helped secure that crazy.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. With that being said, would you possibly want to see a sequel or prequel where they delve into?
Oh yeah, I want to see both.
The grandparent.
I want to see the prequel, and I want to see a sequel, because think about it. You got the prequel where you can delve into the grandparents, but then the sequel you can, like, you still got the other black guy that's that still is under hypnotic trance. So it's like they could. The second part 2 can be them trying to find him, because we don't know if they just left or if they're like, you know what, you gotta go help bruh out, because
they don't need more than TSA for that.
That's what I'm saying, to make it a good movie, because and what if the coagula is like more than just this family? Is like a nationwide, possibly worldwide. Like,
right.
They got enough right now to have this going for about 4 or 5 movies.
I don't think I want to see that though.
But I'm just saying, like, I think I'll give them my money.
Slightly off topic. Did you know they're making a sequel to Don't Breathe?
I'm not breathing. I'm sorry, I wasn't breathing.
Yeah. But what?
No, I haven't even seen the first one yet. I almost watched it the other day, but something happened. I didn't get to watch it. But
we'll talk about that another time, though.
Sanders.
I don't.
Shout out to Side Baby.
I don't want to see a sequel though. It's
to me. To Don't Breathe.
No, no.
Which
I
one?
would
Oh.
no, don't breathe, but to Get Out.
Oh, to Get Out.
I
Okay.
kind of feel like, or at least not immediately. It kind of, to me, not even in anything, but just as far as buzz.
Okay.
It's got a similarity to
It
It Follows. Like
it could be a good standalone, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, you know what, you don't. It's perfect the way it is. We don't have to. Don't touch it. Just let it be its own iconic, cult classic movie.
Yeah.
We ain't got to do nothing else with it and just ride off that. But it's Hollywood, and I highly doubt that movie's not gonna get a sequel.
but
Just like It Follows, they may make a sequel to that.
But you gotta remember, in both of those cases, It Follows was basically done by a indie director, so he has. It's not like it's a big, Paramount or,
True.
I can't think of any other name. Not last one. We can't blame Disney because they're not involved in this at all.
Right.
And so the same thing with this, because Jordan Peele directed it. As you can obviously see, like it's not like a movie like Keanu.
True.
Because if it had been, don't you think that the movie wouldn't have been done the way it was done?
Right.
So
So you're telling me you don't want to see a sequel, Aziz, right?
No,
Z.
I-
Sorry. Are you
I
sure about
don't-
that, Z?
I don't. A sequel might actually be a pretty good thing. They could get more box office revenue, more character development. It'd be great.
You're now in the sunken place, Z.
Tell me about your first movie experience.
All right. I'll say one thing. Going back to the sequel thing, that was one thing I didn't like about the movie was the ending, because honestly, it's a horror movie. It was categorized as a horror movie,
Psychological thriller.
All right, thriller.
It's not Human Centipede.
I don't know, like when I go to watch thrillers and horror movies, I'm looking for like a sick end. I don't know, like it would have honestly, I would have felt better. It would have been more scary for me
If he didn't.
if he died, if he didn't make it out.
It's not a horror movie.
I know, but that when it was like getting towards the end, I'm like, all right, it just was like too like, all right, all this good stuff is happening. I don't know, maybe I'm just sick in the mind, but I was just like, did you get that feeling like, okay, it's too happy right now, like I'm too happy, like
I feel where you're going with that, but I think the reason you can't have him murdered at the end because it would have made it too real.
exactly, like maybe that's what I wanted. Maybe I wanted him to like go all the way and be like,
You want it, but you got to remember,
Like-
why do people play video games? Why do people
Right,
get on the
right.
internet? Why do people go to the movies?
this is why the movie ended up being so good, was because we got what we wanted at the end, what we want in real life. Like
Right.
we want to,
he got
we
all
want
the
to
justification
give it to the man. You know what I mean?
right. Well, what we got in the end of the movie, you got
All right.
sort of like a split. You got a guy that went through so much stuff, and then he was able to override.
Struggle. You gotta struggle.
You got to struggle, and so that's partially what made it so gratifying at the end, because not only was it a movie, but then at the same time, like, because it was so relatable, it kind of felt like real life. Like, okay, I've been in this position where I've got so much going against me and so much struggle and this and that, and it never feels like you get that justification or
Well,
vindication
maybe,
at the end.
and if we really look at it, maybe it did end really, like in reality, like
We just
realistically, because maybe that's maybe that's the message. Like we go through all this, but in the end, we still prevail.
we just haven't got there.
Still I rise.
As I like to say, one day it'll all make sense. Today's just not that day.
Yeah.
So a lot of great. Give it 2 paws up. like that
Two
one.
paws up.
2 paws up. So those are, generally our likes and very minimal dislikes.
All right.
We're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some of the more details, some of the scenes and symbolism in the movie, because there's a whole lot of that, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. you
We're
produce this
back.
week?
Don't tell anybody. We're back. If you just saw a YouTube ad, please click on it so we can get funding. Mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Wait, hold on. If you saw a YouTube ad, make sure you click on it.
Click on it.
Actually, click it twice.
3 times. Buy something. So we're back. Symbolism.
Yeah.
You know, if I was more prepared, I would have had the definition of that.
Editor, where are you? All right.
Like I said, what are
They
we?
went to go grab food for us.
What are we
what-
not
what-
paying these interns for? Somebody please tell me. So, I think this was the maybe greatest point in this film. Oh, wait. I think we got it here. Symbolism. The use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. I was hoping for a more elaborate definition. I'm gonna make up one. Symbolism.
It's pretendadultworld, man.
Pretendadultworld.
You can be what you want to be.
The representation through. See, I was about to say symbols. Anyway, the representation of objects and actions to have ulterior meanings. There you go. Write that down.
Right.
Hashtag Paul
Webster
symbolism.
Dictionary, my ass.
TNZ dictionary. So, I think that was one of the greatest qualities of this movie was the symbolism behind it. When I see a lot of people talking about it online, they're like, oh, there's a lot of subliminal things in it, which to me, I didn't really think anything was subliminal. Like, it's pretty clear and out front what this movie is about, what the point of it is. Now, there may be like little scenes here and there where it's like, oh, you didn't know particularly what's going on. Like, for instance, this scene where they're bidding on him with the bingo cards. Like, oh, this is actually representation of a slave auction.
Okay, yeah, you could say it was a lot of. I guess I could say the same thing. It was some symbolic stuff, like the deer thing was symbolic, but then also it was metaphorical too. When he was talking about the deer, but the fact that they had so many deers in the house and stuff, like a bunch of hunting stuff, that was symbolic, you know, as to.
I mean, it's all symbolic. I just didn't think it was so much subliminal. Like, hey, if you're watching this, if your posterior is sitting down in a chair watching this movie, you know what's going on. Like, you'd have to be incredibly, you know, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
You have to be incredibly ignorant.
Think about it. Majority of people are.
But this movie was like, bam, right in your face.
I feel like he had to do it that way.
Which,
all right, so here's one that was really some things that I didn't really catch on to, and maybe I would have caught on to it had I, you know, saw it for a second time before doing this review. But the colors, like this one scene, when they were at the party, right?
Right.
And all the guests there were wearing some form of red, right?
Right.
And Chris is the only one wearing blue. I didn't catch that.
It was kind of like...
That was kind of cool. I was like, what?
It was kind of like his funeral, if you think about it in one way, because it was his funeral, but then it was also like a job interview at the same time. He just didn't know either one of them was going on. So, in this scene...
He just was like the curiosity of, like, the whole party. Like, you know, like, no one really... When you watch the movie and you see how they're interacting with him, like, no one's, like, you know, interacting with him like he's just a normal, like,
person.
Another guest.
Right. Like,
they're interacting
what do you
like,
do?
whoa, like, wow, look
How do you-
at those broad shoulders. You know,
Right.
like,
Look at those.
what's your 40 time? Like, you know, like
Right. Like you said,
Like, they
nobody really talked to him like a person. They
looked
treated
at him
like
like a
product.
specimen. They're just
Right.
like, whoa, like,
Is that something I'd like to put my mind
Right.
inside of?
right.
So I think there was great symbolism in that scene.
And something they said, I was looking at an article, but they were like, the red and the blue, it's like political parties.
Yes.
I was like,
that
oh,
as well.
that was a good one. I was like, that was pretty neat.
Definitely. So
Does it ever make you think though, like, how much of this stuff was really done intentional? Now that probably was done very intentional, but I'm like, man, like, that was pretty deep.
But you know, that's just how the world works sometimes, the pretend adult world, that things just happen to fall into place that we don't really plan. It just happens.
Yeah.
But I think a good majority of the stuff in that movie probably was done on purpose, don't you think?
Yeah.
So one of the scenes that I absolutely loved was the very beginning when they hit the deer, and then they get out the car and Chris goes to investigate the deer. And like I was saying earlier, it was a great scene of foreshadowing. There's a split second where the camera pans down and it shows Chris's boots, and the way he has his laces tied are tied behind his ankles, not tied in front like you'd normally have your laces tied, which was sort of symbolism to him being chained up at the end. As well as you could tell the way that he looked at the deer, there was like, it's more than just a deer.
Right.
So in addition to the shoes, you also have the deer that he's sitting there staring at, reflecting on, which came at the end as well, because when he was tied in the chair, you had the deer above head of the TV, and it was just kind of like funny how things go in circles.
Right. You felt like he empathized with the deer, you know, and another part, you know, another interesting part of that scene was that he's sitting there, you know, he's looking at the deer, he's empathizing, he's feeling sad, feeling bad. You know, he's showing that he cares, that he has a heart. And his girlfriend is like nowhere to be found. Like, she's in the car waiting, you know, like she's not showing any kind of emotion. And that was another foreshadow of like, even though she just defended him, you know,
right,
not my man, you know.
But
then she's not, you know, she's heartless towards the, you know, the animal they just killed. So
right.
It was kind of interesting, like, how you switch it off like that?
Which I found her to be very, and I think that's how the character was supposed to be.
Very
emotionless throughout the movie. Because anytime he brought up something strange happening, she always had like
she was so clueless about it.
I wouldn't well, she was a little clueless, but she always had like a little joke to throw back at him, like, oh, stop being so sensitive, you know, it's nothing serious.
Right.
And then she'd go, well, oh, I'll talk to them, you know, because now that I think about it, why not say, oh, let's go talk to them together?
Right.
So that was kind of like another tailing sign.
Yeah, like, why do you have to talk to them separate every time a situation pops up?
Right. So one of the things I read in the article as well, which I actually didn't think about, they were saying that the scene where she is sticking up for her man is actually, she didn't want the police officer to see his license because she's trying to cover up her paper trail.
Right. I thought that was pretty interesting too, you know, and I don't know how I felt on it though, because I'm like, okay, she didn't want the cop to see his, you know, she didn't want the paper trail. I'm like, ain't the cop in on it too? I'm like, ain't this whole neighborhood like...
They weren't quite at the neighborhood yet though.
True, that is true.
I did think as well though.
I'm like, well, how far away were they? I guess we don't know, but
right.
Yeah.
Because I thought that as well, but then the way the cop kind of responded to the situation made you think that, okay, he might not. I mean, at that point in the movie, we don't
know where
he,
and we didn't know which way he was
right.
coming from. We don't know, so it could have been though. That was pretty. If that ends up being true, then yeah, that's pretty cool.
What I had read, and I think I talked to you about this before we actually saw the movie. they were saying that the reason he was looking for the ID is because he was actually looking for the missing guy, Andre.
Oh.
So that's why he wanted to see ID, but
Ooh, we don't know, you know?
We don't know.
Part 2.
No, I'm gonna slap that glass off the table before you try to convince me otherwise. Nope, not gonna do it.
Go to the singing place.
I'm perfectly fine on the couch.
One more, so we are on time. All right. Well, sorry. So one more symbolic thing was him being in the sunken place, and they were saying, I thought about it too. It's like, like that's like represents black people and today's society, like how we just feel like immobile and just kind of paralyzed or stuck in our situation. I thought that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree, because one of the things you saw when he went into the sunken place, one of the things I read as well, they were like, you notice how he kind of looked like a deer in headlights.
Right.
And so, in addition to that, you notice how when he was looking up from the sunken place, that it was kind of like a movie or like a screen. Mm-hmm. And so, like you're saying, I feel like that's a representation as well, that it's kind of like African American people watching TV and you're seeing all this going on, but you sitting there just feel helpless because, like, what can I do? How do I, change all this? I feel like I really don't have the power to.
His whole situation is that way too. Like, just his whole situation is just black people in general. Like, his mom dying and he's sitting there watching TV. It's like, oh dang, she died. Like, but what can I do?
Right.
I can't. I just feel powerless. Dang, what a good movie, man! Wow.
There was so much symbolism.
Wow.
And then another thing, the guy who ended up wanting to get his body, the art. Jim, I think his name was Jim Hudson in the movie.
Yeah.
How when he's explaining to him in the end, he was like, I don't really care if you're black or not. I just want your eye, as if that makes a difference or makes him any less racist than any other people in the party. Because there are some people that feel like that. Mm-hmm. That makes me think about one of the things I've talked to one of my female friends about in the past, where have you ever heard a white person say, oh, I'm not racist, I have black friends.
Right.
And I was explaining that to somebody. I'm like, that doesn't make you not racist. I could be extremely racist against white people, but in my head, I'm like, you know what? I hate white people, so I'm only going to sleep with white girls to get back at them. Mm-hmm. Just because you have friends of, which I'm not racist, I love people of all colors.
I have white friends.
I have white friends with tea glasses, and we listen. Oh, I'm not gonna go there. But it doesn't make you any less racist. But some people feel like stating that, like, oh, well, I go out and support, such and such cause. I gotta be a good person, and I can't be, racist. And it's like, that's not how things work,
Right.
Your actions don't necessarily make up for your, personality.
Right.
Just because, I got one more example. I always thought it was funny, at least at the college I went to, the fraternities, the majority of what they did on campus was party and throw, I'm trying to think, what do you call these?
Seminars?
Yes, seminars, but the seminars were always about sex. So you throw parties and then you throw seminars about sex, but once a month we're gonna go donate some toys.
We're gonna go clean up the community center.
Right. Take some pictures, with our signs and put it up on Facebook to make people think that.
Which makes us better than the average person.
Right. I always just found that hilarious. Like,
I did too.
You're doing a toy drive, but you only do this once a month. But then, when you got the Kappa whipped cream party, Tuesday, Thursday, every week.
The juice party out there at the fairgrounds,
Right.
Yeah. Is it?
I'm like,
Yeah.
I know who
You can't put those two together. Like, no,
Right.
we're just throwing a party to raise money for the chapter.
Which, not to say you can't do both, you know?
Right.
But clearly you're not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I just always found that symbolism hilarious.
I agree with you on that.
So, you know, everybody can't be pretend adults. It's
Yes.
okay, you know? But you can use pretend adult tips.
Pats.
Yeah, like I was saying, pretend adult tips. Check them out. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Send me money. I need another pair of Yeezys. Anything you want to.
Give me some money. My bank account. What's wrong? Nah, I'm not gonna give y'all money.
But back to the movie though. So what were some of your favorite scenes? You know, the symbolisms, maybe underlying tones or messages from the movie.
Okay. Two of them have to do with the deer. I just like the deer, how they use that in the movie, the deers. I don't know, you say deers, you just say deer. Deer is just plural, right?
Yeah, deer
and
is
singular
plural,
at the same time. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, so the deer throughout the movie was, I don't know, very it was done very well to me. I like how, you know, he's looking at the dead deer, and how that was a foreshadow of, you know, he didn't, after what happened with his mom, you know, he didn't want to leave. He just felt bad leaving things to die, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the deer, how that related to black people. Did you know like that was even like a racial slur for black people at one time?
I did not.
The black buck, as far as like black males who were you know, against you know, would resist against white, you know, superiority, or, you know, against white people. They called them black bucks. So that was another one. I was like, oh man, when he started talking about the deer, when the dad was talking about the deer and how he hates deer and how he wishes they were all dead, and, you know, one less deer on the street, I was like, okay, that was good. And then at the end, another favorite scene is when he killed them with the antlers from the deer. It's like it all came full circle. Like, oh, that was just cool how you put it all together.
That scene was so gratifying.
Yeah, that felt
Like,
good.
I didn't stand up in the theater, but inside I wanted to. I clapped. I definitely did clap.
Yeah.
But it was so gratifying to see him get his revenge, if you will, on this family.
So that was your favorite death?
Let's see. Actually, yeah, because
That was my favorite one.
the polo ball, I guess, croquet. What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Croquet.
Yeah.
That one was like, Actually, that
Well,
one.
that what I was about to say, right? He didn't die that way.
When he A-Town stomped Buddy's face.
Right. That was equally satisfying. But when he shoved them antlers through my dog, boy, I felt so good.
I think for me, when he stabbed him in the leg with, was it scissors? No, was it a knife?
It was a It may
I think
have
it was
been
a knife, because I remember the mom stabbed him.
Yeah. It was
That was more gratifying to me than the A-Town stomp, just because it was like he has an eye, you know, for these things. So clearly it was like he set him up, like, oh, you gonna keep kicking that door when I'm trying to get it out? Keep doing it. See what happens. First time, nope. Second time, nope. Third time, nope. Fourth, my leg.
Yeah.
So that was really gratifying for me.
Another scene I liked, of course, when he was hypnotized without, you know, his consent.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it because it was a range of emotions, and that really like drew me in. Like I just felt everything he was feeling at at that time. Like they did a good job with that, like making him feel helpless and vulnerable, but trying to be strong at the same time. And just he did a great job. The actor, I forgot his name, but I really like him.
Yeah, you go
Editor,
look it
where
up.
you at?
Yeah. So one of the things while you're looking that up that I thought was interesting, just thinking about this movie. Do you think this movie would have had the same impact if the lead character was a light-skinned male?
Ooh. No. I don't think so. I think he had to make that sharp contrast.
I think it gave it more.
Yeah, it had to because it just set the tone for everything that was going on.
Which is interesting though.
It set the tone because it's like. Go ahead.
I was saying it's interesting though because even though he was a dark-skinned male, we all still go through those same things. We all experience the same kind of racism.
But yeah, and this movie, how everything that happened in the movie, it was about extremes. So like everything that we go through, but at an extreme level. So the interracial couple had to be so extreme, like the whitest white girl you could find, and then the blackest black guy,
Right?
You could find, because that's how the whole movie was set up. All these extremes, like the racism and the symbolic stuff, like.
Right.
So that was the only way it would have worked. Not saying that it wouldn't have worked, but this way it just fit the movie.
Right. But you also had the other guy, because he was somewhat light skinned, even though he wasn't as big of a character to the plot.
He was brown skinned. Who you talking about?
Andre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't light skinned, but I found that interesting because Jordan Peele himself is a light-skinned male, so it's like he obviously did this intentionally, which it worked. I just thought it was pretty interesting
because and then I think he would also he would have got probably some backlash, or at least it would have been some critics or just people in general be like, oh why can't he just be a darker skinned guy,
Maybe that's why the one critic didn't give him a perfect score. He felt like
probably.
Can't see that, we're tapping our temples right now. Maybe that's why he was upset. But nonetheless, did the intern find it that
Hold
for
on.
you yet?
Interns have some issues. What are we paying you for? Okay, here we go.
Shenanigans.
Daniel Kaluuya.
There you go.
Daniel Kaluuya. I like him. He was in an episode of my first time like really seeing him. He was in an episode, or noticing him, I guess. You watch the show Black Mirrors?
Yes, I've seen an episode or two.
Have you seen the episode with him?
I don't recall. I probably have.
I think it's season 3. I'll just give you a quick plot. It's the episode where they're like stuck in this underground factory or something. It's some kind of like facility, and they have these people where you just wake up every day, you ride on a bicycle. Pretty much their job is to provide energy for civilization. So it's like a metric system, right? So it's like you get so many points, and you can get like some perks while you're in there, like
Gotcha.
Food,
Reward points.
you can watch
American
a certain kind of
airline
show, or and it's like these points add up, and you can use them for different things. But also you have to keep your points at a certain level, which it kind of encourages you to work out, or to stay on the bikes to power the machines. Because if your points fall below a certain level, then it's like your status in there is like it's affected, or you can get kicked out. Well, we don't know where you go after that.
Right.
So it was
Sunken place.
right. You should watch it because it's funny because in both of these movies, he's trying to get out, or in both of these, the show and in the movie, he's literally trying to get out.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take one more break, and when we come back, we'll give our final thoughts on the movie Get Out. So stay tuned.
See y'all in a bit.
We're back. Hopefully you didn't get out. Did you miss us?
Hopefully you didn't go to the sunken place. Cause we can't grab you. I see you.
I can't.
Give me your hand. Come here. Come out there. I got you.
I wish we had more time. Oh man. You know.
That was a good one.
Good times. I love movies, man.
Me too.
I feel like movies are our generation's books.
Yes, they are. We gotta review more movies, man. We gotta make it a point. Like, I like what we're doing, in this episode. Mm-hmm. This is good. We get to really elaborate and delve into the movies that we, recently saw, and give more, of our, perspective on what we thought about the movie. So
I agree as well.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't just have to be new movies as well. As you can see over here in our studio, I've got a whole chest, literally a treasure chest full of movies.
Full of treasure.
Full of
booty.
Wait, hold on. Wait for it. I've got a treasure chest full of visual literature.
Yeah, work on that last word.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Visual literature.
Say that 5 times fast. You ain't got to do that.
So, back to the movie, Get Out. Final thoughts? Questions,
Final thoughts.
Comments, dirty jokes.
Final thoughts. The movie was a hit. Instant classic. It's gonna be probably the movie of, you look back 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it's gonna be one of those movies where they're gonna be like, yeah, you gotta see this, right? Where were you when this came out?
You've never seen it?
Right, it's gonna be one of those, yeah, you've never seen Get Out? What?
It's gonna be like the serious version of, at least for black people anyway, of like Friday. Like, you ever met a black person that's never seen Friday?
It will be that.
Like, you're gonna be able to judge a person based on, like, you've never seen Get Out? Oh, you're an Uncle Tom.
It was very original, and really it's unique in a way because of, he said the movie was supposed to come out 4 years ago.
He
initially one of Barack's
started writing it during
terms.
Barack's first or second term.
Right.
I would say second term.
Yeah.
But he felt like it was more relevant at this point in time.
The timing, like, it was perfect. Like, how do you
Perfect.
Right. How do you hold on to something like that that's such a good movie? I mean, even if it came out 4 years ago, right? Well, it still would have been good.
We don't know. Maybe that's what needed to be done. Because you know how, blame Disney, how they just keep trying to pump out sequels for things. Like, maybe that's what needs to happen. More directors and studios need to hold on, instead of just trying to keep rehashing the same idea over and over again.
Yeah. I just think, that would have been interesting, with that fact coming out that, what if the movie would have been, released, 5 years ago? Like, what kind of, reception would it have gotten?
You know what? It would have been more of a comedy. Because like I said, it's not as relevant, or wouldn't have been as relevant then as it is now.
True.
So people would have probably looked at more comedy. You know what's interesting about that? Like you said, like, timing is so important. I think about how, and I want to say this was in the early 2000s, at one point, you had a movie, Chris Rock, Head of State, a comedy about a black man being the president. I don't remember exactly how many. We'll have to get our interns on this, but just a handful number of years later, you've got that movie with Jamie Foxx, which is a serious action drama as a black president. And it's funny because you don't really look at media, but like I had to sit there and look at it like that's kind of progress in a way. Like we went from having a black president
it's a joke. It'll never happen
president
kind of thing
is a comedy movie
right.
to this is serious now.
Well, let me give you a little history check when it comes to cinema. You seen The Fifth Element, right?
It's been a while. As he's like,
the president was black. It was Debo. He was the president. I don't know his name for real,
but they had
it was a black president.
Tiny Lister, by the way.
But that movie was set place 400 years in the future or something. 200 something years in the future.
That's where Young Thug got his style from. Look at Chris Tucker in that movie. Like nobody's taking that serious.
Oh, that was a good movie.
Nobody's taking that serious though. But it's just interesting to me, you know. So
yeah,
like I said, the timing of this movie, like it couldn't have come out at any more perfect time for this movie to come out. The relevancy of the movie at this particular time with everything that's going on.
Yeah,
like
it was perfect. Like he couldn't have asked for a better moment to release a movie.
I concur.
The state of our culture right now, you know, the shootings and everything that's going on the last several years. It just built up to this movie, this gift he gave society right now. Like,
how about this? And I hate saying that phrase. Anyway, you can have your sequel, but only if Donald Trump has a second term.
I think I want some tea.
Don't vote for Trump.
No.
That's for me right now. Just thinking off the top of my head, like
I think that's the only way it would work too. He needs like that kind of morale, like where we're just like at least unified and going to support a movie like that.
Right.
Because if we get another black president, it's gonna be like, oh, get out! Like we're past that. Now we're a president, right. Black president number 2. You know, so it's like
we're not doing Black Lives Matter anymore.
Right. It won't be. Cool.
It doesn't give me the.
It won't be cool to be, you know, pro-black anymore.
Right. It's not hip or trendy.
Yeah.
But back to the movie. It's such a great. It's not a movie. It's a film.
Yeah. What are you? Closing thoughts. I mean, we kind of ranted.
I love it.
With mine.
The day it comes out, I'm getting it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, me too.
I would say buy 2 copies, but that's just silly.
I'm probably gonna see it again this weekend. We'll see.
Definitely worth. Like I said, I saw it twice, and there were so many things that you catch the second time around. Here's a quote for you: "Sometimes we go in circles in order to find things we missed the first time around." Connections. So it's such a great movie, even better the second time. The only, and I wouldn't say issue, qualm I had seeing it with the second time, I was cursing out the girlfriend in my head the entire time. Like every time she said something, I was like, "You little bitch, you're lying."
Well, because you know what's going on.
Yeah, because I know. I mean, I felt the same way, not as strongly. But the first time I saw
I had my suspicion on her. I was like, she's in on it, but she kept throwing me off every time she defended him. But I should have looked more into it. Like it was a couple times where she almost, you know, was like, "Oh no, she's in on it," but then she just came back around. Like when he went upstairs and everybody got quiet.
Right.
It was just like listening to him walk around upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Where the fuck is the girlfriend?" I was like, "She got to be in on it." Like she don't realize, she don't notice this like weird shit going on right now, like.
Right.
Cause any regular person be like, what are you guys doing?
Are you treating my boyfriend
Where's
like
Chris?
this? You wanna stick up from when the cops there? But
Where's my man?
When the neighborhood is messing with your man, you got no problem with it.
Right.
And we talked about this. I don't really know how the movie would have worked if she wasn't part of it. Unless
So here was my theory was, it was kind of something I was looking forward to as well. Like I was hoping that it would happen. Is that what if the daughter was hypnotized as well? Because I'm like, man, they got this girl out here, doing something strange, for the culture right now.
Team,
like,
right?
she doing it for the culture out here,
Putting it down
recruiting.
For the home team, right?
And I'm just like, man, they tricking their daughter out. Like that's like, ain't no way she's part of this. I'm like, the only explanation is if she's in the sunken place as well, like she's being hypnotized.
I mean, how do you think John Calipari gets all those recruits?
Right.
It might be something to look into. Well,
it might be.
Louisville already did that, but that's another story.
Quagla disowned them after that story broke out. So,
which we should ask Rick Pitino about that. Maybe he's part of the Coagula. Except instead of the heads, notice how he had a scarf on. Maybe they've got something going on there. You know what? TNZ reports Rick Pitino's part of the order. Look it up.
He's part of the order.
What connections? Why did Drake say
fraternity.
I need a girl from Kentucky? Oh, we're breaking news here right now, people. We're breaking news. Drake's in on it too.
Wow. Drake is one of them. Yeah.
I need a girl.
That's why he always has a part in a new area on his in his hair.
I'm cutting off my
new surgery.
Oh man, but that's gonna do it. Our Pretend Adult World Get Out episode
Official review.
Please go out and support Jordan Peele in this film.
Go see it twice.
It's a cinematic experience.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, hashtag.
Click the glass. Do it all. Do it all. Anywho, he's T, I'm Z. Not to be confused with TMZ.